Hello everyone, and what I'm going to be showing you today is how to use Google Sites to create a professional and exciting looking website. So the example that I'm going to talk you through today is my website for dishes from around the world. So I've got a very small home page here. I've got another web page within the site called South America, where I've got my dishes from South America. And as you can see, I've got images, some titles, and some text. And I've just basically repeated this all the way down. I've then also got a page for Africa. As you can see, same sort of thing, but I've just used slightly different layout here. So it looks like this could be quite complicated to do, but I assure you it's really, really simple and straightforward. And I mean really simple and straightforward. So the context that I'm showing you here is a website for world foods, but you should be able to take the skills that I'm going to show you and apply them to any other subject or content or situation that you like. So remember, it's the skills that I'm showing you that are important. The context is just there. You can apply the skills to any other situation or context. Okay, so let's just jump straight into it and get on with it. So what you're going to need to do is go to Google Drive. Now, in my Google Drive, I have created folders for each of my areas of learning and experience. So I know now if I'm going to create this project for humanities, I double click on humanities and I'm in the right folder now. So I know next time when I come to open my website, I know exactly where it is. Okay, so now that I'm in the right folder, I need to tell Google Drive which type of document I want to create. So I click on New, and as you can see, Google Sites isn't in this list. So if I click More, I can see that Google Sites is here. And once I click on it, it's going to create me a blank new Google site to work on. And the first thing that you should do is name your site. So I'm going to call this World Foods. But remember, you name yours appropriately for what the context or the subject of your website is. So I'll click away from that, and now my website's named. Now, rather than build my website from scratch, what I'm going to do is actually close that because it's important to know how to create your Google site first. What I'm actually going to do is continue working on this example site and show you some important skills that you'll need to create your website. Now, I need to create another page to add in here to this list for Asia. So what I do is I click on Pages here. I'm going to click on the plus icon to add a new page, and I'm going to call this Asia and press Done. Now what you can see here is it's automatically added this page into my navigation bar, which is perfect. It's also automatically created the same header image that I've previously had. So what I'm going to do now is show you how to change that header if you want to. Okay, so let's have a look at then changing the header for your web page. Now, if we think of a web page like a human body, the header is at the top. So what we want to do is make sure that this is a nice eye-catching image for people to see. So what we need to do, if we want to change the header, if I have a look here, if I click on Change Image and I choose Select Image, I can either do a search through Google or I can take an image from Google Drive or whatever the case may be. I can choose a predefined one. But what I'm going to do is do it by URL. So if, for example, I've gone onto Google now and I've found the image that I really want, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on the image and I'm going to copy image address. Then in Google Sites, what I'm going to do, I've actually copied the URL by doing that. So if I click on by URL, I'm going to paste it in there and I'm going to press select. And that will then put the image in the background for me. So now let's have a quick look at some of the other things that you can do with your header. Now, there's not a great deal you can do with a header, but once you've changed the image, you can choose, if you click on header type here, you can see that you can either choose cover, which makes it very large. You can choose large banner, which is a bit smaller than cover, or you can just choose banner, which is the default size that it is automatically. Now, if you click on title only, all it will do is get rid of the image and you'll just have the text there. So now another really quick look at something else you can do with a header is if you look at the original image that I took from Google, you can see here that it's quite bright and vibrant. But if you look at my website here, the header is actually quite faded and it looks a bit darker. Now what it does, it automatically, if you can see here, this icon, if I click it, it will restore it back to its original colors. But what you can see here is that the text is quite difficult to read. So if you click on this, it adjusts it so that the text is easy to read. It is worth actually playing about with this just by clicking it on and off to see which looks better. But I would say it's more important to have your title showing and making sure that the image isn't too overpowering for the text. So just have a play about with that. Now, the next thing that we've got to do, and probably the most important thing that we've got to do, is start adding our content. So just like I've done here with my African page where I've got some images, some text, and a little divider there between these different dishes, is really, really simple. It may look like it could be tricky, but it's really, really easy. So what we're going to do is go to the Insert menu. And rather than inserting images and text separately and doing it that way, what I'm going to do is choose Layouts. Now, the layouts that I've used, and you can just use any of these, but essentially what it means is that's a picture. The gray line there, the thick gray line is a title, and the thin gray lines will be your text. So you can see how this works for these different ones here. So what I'm going to do is click on the first one here, and what it means now is I can add a picture in here, I can add my title, and then the text explaining underneath. So just like I've done here with Africa, my picture, my title, and the text. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. So the dish that I'm going to put in this section is a dish called pho or pho from Vietnam. And what I need to do first of all is get a nice picture. So I'm going to click on plus and select image. And I'm going to do it by URL. So now I'm going to collect the URL, and just as we did with the header, I found the image that I want, so I'm going to right click, I'm going to go to copy image address, and then what I'm going to do is paste the image in and press insert image, and there is my image. So I'm going to put the title as pho or pho, and what I can do now that I've got the text in there is I can highlight it, and I can make it bold if I want, I can make it italic. I'm going to center align it, and I'm just going to leave it like that, but that's entirely up to you. So the next thing that you would do then is you would click into this box and you would put your text in there, and you could choose to make it bold or italic, center aligned, left aligned, right aligned, fully justified, whichever you prefer. You can even do bullet points in this as well, or numbered lists as well. So that's really, really useful. So I'm just going to pause it now while I type up my information, and then I'll come back to it. Okay, so now that we've done the text, what I'm going to do is show you very quickly the type of things that you can do now that you've got your pre-made layout there. Now, there's not a great deal that you can do, but what I can do is click on the image, and I can actually stretch that out here to make it a bit wider if I want, or a bit longer, but just have a play about with it till you get it into the position you want. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to leave that. And next what I'm going to do is put a divider here before the next section that I complete. So what we're going to look at now is how to insert entire documents or files into your website. So not just a link, for example, to a Google Slides presentation, but actually having the presentation embedded into your particular website. So there's two ways that we could do this. Either we could go to the Insert tab, and I could go to Drive. And what you can see here is I could specifically find the file that I'm looking for in my Google Drive, or I could go to Shared Drives, or if I scroll across, I've got my other options, Starred. But I'm going to look at my recent ones because I know I've worked on it recently. And I want to put this presentation into the website so that somebody can click on the presentation and view it either within the website, or they can click it to open it in a new tab. So if I double click here, what it will do is insert this into my web page, and I can then using this icon here, drag it down below here to where I want it to be. So as you can see here, now I've only got one slide in my presentation, but when you go into preview like this, you'll be able to see that I can actually choose if there was a number of slides. I could choose the one I wanted to go to. I could press play to start going through the presentation. So I'm just going to close preview mode and show you the other way of doing this. So if I want to hide my Google Drive options, I click the X here, and I'm just going to delete this entire row here. So the other way of doing it is, as we've done before, as we've seen, using predefined layouts. If I wanted to click this one, for example, all I'd have to do, and this is the way I do it most of the time, I find it easier, I click on the plus icon and I choose from Drive. And again, it brings up the exact same set of options. So that's quite a nice way to do, to put an entire document into your website. And this works for spreadsheets, and it works for presentations and documents. However, this works with Google Drive applications only, so sheets, slides, and docs. If you try to do it with Word documents, it's going to be a little bit more complicated. So that is how we put entire files or documents into your website. Okay, so just as I've done here with my South American and my African pages, what I've done is put dividers here between the different sections. I just think it makes it look a little neater and a little bit more professional, and it doesn't make it look as though it's one big article. So the way that we do this, if I click back on my Asia tab, I click on the last section that I was working on here, and I want the divider to go underneath it. So I've clicked on this section, and all I do then is click Insert and choose Divider. And when you put your divider there, that's all it is. Nice and simple, but it makes it look a lot neater. So now all I need to do, if I want to add more information to this page, is go on Insert, find the Layout section, and choose whichever layout I want. So as you can see here, as I've done with Africa, what I've got is two side by side. And so if I go back to my Asia page, if I want to do that, I can do so, or I could even have three in a row like you can see here. So it's as simple as that. And then I just add my three images, my titles, and the text underneath. So putting information onto your pages is really simple. So what I'm going to show you now is how to hyperlink another website to your current website. So let's say, for example, like here, I found a really good recipe for a beef pho or pho. What I want to do is get this link onto my website so that whoever's looking at my website can go to this recipe if they want to. So all I'm going to do is highlight that text, right click and copy, and then I'm going to go back to my website and I'm going to highlight the title here. Now what you can see here is an insert link icon. If I click that and I paste the link in here and apply, that turns it into a hyperlink. Now I can also do this with images that are on my web page. So if I click on the image here, again, you can see insert link and right click and paste and press apply. So now when I preview the website, if I click on this image here, it takes me to that recipe. So that's a really nice way of using hyperlinks. So if I just close that view now, we'll be ready to move on to the next skill. So now that you've completed your website and you're happy with it and you've checked everything, you've proofread it to make sure that there's no mistakes, what you're going to need to do is click on the home page and go to this big blue button which says publish. Now we can't share this link to the website until it's published. So when we publish it, it becomes available to share on the World Wide Web. So we'll just use the default name here that it gives us and press publish. So now that's published, what it means is I can share that link with whoever I want. And in particular, I can share it with my teachers on Google Classroom. So now that it's published, I want to share this link with my teacher to show them the work that I've created. So once it's published, I click on this icon here, which copies the link to your published site. You press copy link. And if I go into my Google Classroom here, I look for the assignment that my teacher set, which is the World Foods website. And what I'm going to do then is click on Add or Create. And I'm going to choose a link. And all I do is paste in the link that I copied, add link, and hand in. And now my teacher has got my website that I've created ready for them to assess. And that's all you need to do. Now, a really important point for you to know about is that if you make any changes to your website, you must then publish them. Because if you don't publish it, your teacher will not see the changes that you've made. So if you make any changes for whatever reason to your website, make sure you publish it in order for your teacher to be able to see those changes. So that is that really. That's Google Sites. You've seen how to use the skills and the tools that Google Sites has to be able to create a professional and interesting, vibrant looking website. Now remember, it doesn't matter what the context is or the scenario is for your website. You know now how to use the skills and the tools. So you don't have to make one based on World Foods. The title can be completely different. The images can be completely different. You know how to put an image into a web page now, so you can do that for anything. You know how to do that for the text. You know how to put dividers in. So you can use these skills for any situation or scenario that you're given. So best of luck with using those tools. So what we're going to look at now is how to embed a YouTube video onto your website. So the reason we say it's embedded video is because rather than actually giving a link to the video, which the user clicks on, the video actually plays in the website itself. So how do we do this? Nice and simple. First of all, go to YouTube and find a video that you want. So I found this video here for jollof rice. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the URL and I'm going to copy it, or you can just do Control and C. Then I'm going to go to my World Food site. And what I want it to do is actually sit currently where the divider is. So if I click on this section here, if I go to Insert and scroll down to YouTube like this, I'm going to then paste the link into here and press search. And there you can see my video. So if I click on the video and press select, it's now going to insert this video directly underneath. And as you can see, as I was saying, is that it's actually embedded. So if I go to preview, you can see that the user doesn't have to copy and paste a link or click on a link. They don't even have to leave the site. It's all here where I want it to be. And if I press play, it works like that. So that's a really nice way of getting a video onto your website, but embedding it is much, much better.